We're back with Oakcliff Refit My Ride on Farr 40 Blue, and we are featuring Harken, who's been a longtime partner of ours today. And we have Skip and Aaron. Aaron's the boat captain, and Skip's in charge of, what are you in charge of, Skip?
So my role at Harken is custom and Grand Prix projects. So dealing with folks up and down the coast of the U.S., China, Spain, Italy, France, just a lot of different projects all around the world.
So Skip and Bill Foddy and the Harken team told us that we could change our carbon fiber 30-year-old mast into an easy-to-use Harken backcar system. I, for one, did not believe it. One thing I was correct in is it's not quite as easy to do when the mast is in the boat, but Team Oakcliff did. So Aaron, why don't you talk through what's going on here, and Skip, jump in anytime.
Okay.
So the actual track, there's little slugs that slide into our existing carbon track, and then you screw the track into those slugs, and then the cars just stack up right onto them.
So I actually did this on a Farr 40 that I managed a few years ago, and we did it for a few different reasons. One was safety, the other was ease of use. There is a slight weight disadvantage to adding slides and a bolt rope, but it's definitely minimized when you look at the safety factor of being able to raise and lower the main whenever you feel like it. If you're looking at an offshore scenario, reefing becomes much easier. Any shorthanded sailing, deliveries, etc., with less crew, having the efficiency of the ball bearing cars on the track makes life easier. It's really a safety game changer. And anytime you're doing a distance race where you're sailing up against fronts, specifically the Midwest, when you're racing across the lakes where the fronts come across really aggressively and very finite, you can sail right to the edge of a front, drop the main in a minute or less, go through that squall, and then main back up where other boats are having to reef earlier and losing more time and more performance.
So Allie, who's behind the camera, you were on the delivery. How did it work for you?
Well, there was a time on delivery with Aaron and I were on shift, and I was driving for on watch, my bad. I was driving for about an hour, and I was like, I want to go a little faster, and I want to get moving. And so I got the main halyard, and I challenged myself to pull it up by myself, which was very easy. I don't weigh a lot, and I'm not very strong, but I got it up all by myself, basically just pulling and grinding the last bit. Worked wonderfully, and we went a knot and a half faster.
And we didn't have to wake anyone else up.
And to think about trying to do that with a bolt rope, you'd lead at least another person, at minimum, feeding the luff into the mast track. It just makes the boat much more livable.
Yep. So let's go back and look at the Harken winches, and maybe we'll have Aaron. Actually, Skip, why don't you talk about what the models are, and then Aaron, you can talk about the trials and tribulations and things you learned while putting them on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll start front to back, and I'll kind of go through the reasoning that we kind of came up with for the sizing and what we chose. The Performa line of winches is our entry-level racing winch. It's perfect for this kind of boat. The boat I rehabbed, I did the exact same thing, same size winches actually. So where this boat originally had symmetrical spinnakers where you were using the cabin top winch to pull on the spin sheets through the jibe and balance the spinnaker, these winches are really relegated to being halyard winches and tack line winches. So pretty low load. So on this position, we chose to go with a 40.2 self-tailing. It allows for as much pull as you need, but it also reduces weight and cost, which is always important with any project, keeping the budget in mind. Moving back for the primaries, this was kind of a space that had a little bit of debate, whether you could go with plain top or self-tailing. A couple different schools of thought. Our boat, we went self-tailing. This boat, they chose to go plain top. It's what they're used to. It's what they like. No bad answers. Only different choices. That's why restaurants have menus. There was a discussion about going 3-speed or not. And on this boat, 3-speed is kind of a luxury where the boat's at a size where you're not grinding through the jibes, which was the principal focus of whether you go 3-speed or 2-speed. So most of the jibe is done hand over hand, and then your straight line trimming first and second. Bigger boat, you would probably look at going 3-speed to be able to grind more through the jibes. And this was done to keep the boat simple. Again, cost effective, weight conscientious. Good option. Again, you could split it 6 different ways, but really, it's a good option. Main sheet 46.2 self-tailing, replacing essentially what was there, same for same. Perfect option, great winch, awesome. Our boat we actually changed to a square top mainsail, so we had an additional set of 46s in the back for the runners. And again, those were fantastic.
Yeah, and then for installing them, all we did was we cut G10 backing plates to go underneath the deck just to give some extra support. And then we just screwed them right into that. We probably should have started with the initial screws. We made a little holes in the G10 a bit bigger just to allow some wiggle room for trial and error, but that's okay. And then, yeah, it was a pretty easy install. And then we ended up painting a nice extra little blue circle around it to hide where the old winches weren't exactly the same size.
And I think that, I was going to comment on that, I think that's a really smart idea. It's a really nice little bit of contrast. And it's a great way, if you tried to match the gel coat with even the same color code gel coat, because of the age of the gel coat, you get differences in the coloring. So doing something that's a contrast, that is a contrast, and not trying to match, looks great. If you don't notice. If you were close on the color and it was different, that's something you would notice. So it was a really smart call.
Yeah, and also because the whole thing here is refit my ride, have fun with it, make your boat a fun place to hang out and bring the energy and the youth and the excitement and the vibrance back to racing. Why don't you just pan over and look at, I'm noticing there's a pink flamingo with Regatta Craft mixer in it. But you never know what's going on here in Oakcliff. The Oakcliff Lounge is from 4 to 5 every day, but now we're going to put Allie under pressure, keep you filming there, and we're going to have you just yank the main halyard up a little bit. Siri's going to help you. You can just go hand over hand, Siri. Go, go, go. Action. Just pull. You don't even do the winch. Just pull. You're only going up a little way. There you go.
You can actually hear the balls recirculating.
Keep going, Allie. Keep going. Go, Team Oakcliff. Okay, you're the second spreader. Now you can drop, let her rip. Okay.
That's a lot more control than chaos.
Nice cameo, Allie. Thank you.